Going today, guys. Today I'm going to show you how to install steering wheel controls on a Nissan Patrol with this style of steering wheel from a Series 3. You'll need to source steering wheel controls. As you can see here, these are factory Nissan ones. You can also use Algrand ones, which I also have one to show you, but they are a slightly different color. If you're not worried about the color and you just want them, that's an easier option, easier to get a hold of. I bought these from Nissan. They are expensive, but if you're not worried about the price, then that's where you can go. I'm not sure if wreckers will have these. They are very hard to come across, but if they do, better for you, be a lot cheaper. Pulling away the steering wheel, if you do get it from the wreckers, try and get it with the wiring. It makes your life so much easier. I thought the steering wheel's controls from Nissan might come with them, but they don't. I had to also buy an Algrand steering wheel because I knew 100% they'd have the wiring. If you can get it from the wreckers, try and get it with the wiring. Otherwise, you'll have to find an Algrand steering wheel which has the wiring in there. Just make sure whoever you get it off mention that you want the wiring, because they didn't send it to me. I had to ask for it. From there, I've made my own connector, just because I had to splice these two together, so they mismatch from different other Nissans to get it to work. And then it goes into a factory clock spring. If you do a Series 4 interior conversion, clock springs are different. The plug isn't. If you're an earlier model or any other Patrol ute, this is what it's mainly for. If you've got an airbag, this should already be here. If you don't have an airbag, you'll have to source a clock spring. Clock springs you can get from Pathfinders or X-Trails. They are exactly the same. If you do an interior conversion, Micras, you can get the clock springs from that. Otherwise, you can buy them from Nissan for $40. It's not that expensive. Wiper stalks and indicator stalks, they bolt straight into those clock springs. Unless you go to Series 4, then they're different, which you can also get out of a Micra. Other than that, they bolt straight in. If you've got a wagon, I'm not exactly sure how the wires are behind the airbag. They'd be a bit different, but they do work with that. And also 4.8s are different again with their cruise control module, and I'm not sure how they work, but if you're persistent, you should be able to do it, because a lot of those cars come out with it. If you only got 3-lead, I'm not sure if they're a 2-pin set up cruise control. They might be more. If you don't have a cruise control, even better. It makes their life a lot easier, because there'll only be a horn wire in there. Yeah, so I'll show you what you got to do from clock spring back to the car radio, and I'll show you also the other clock spring and Algrand cruise controller if you're not too fussed on what it looks like. How you going, guys? This is what you'll need to do the interior conversion. Obviously the steering wheel controls, if you want factory Nissan ones like I did, that's the part number for the factory Nissan ones. If you don't want to get the factory Nissan ones, this is the Algrand one. It's exactly the same, just it's a different color around the side here and different pictures. Otherwise, I do the exact same thing. I have tested this, it does work. But it comes down to if you like the color or not. If you don't like the color, then you can get the factory Nissan ones through there. You also need the wiring harness that goes to the back of the head unit. If you've got a Series 3 Patrol wagon, they use this style of plug. If you've got a ute, you'll have to modify this to suit with the other ones. They're the harness for the steering wheel controls. I'm not sure if they're behind the dash on the wagons. They may be. If you're doing this to a ute, you have to cut this plug off and worry about these two blue and green wires. If you go to the manual patrol manual. They tell you what they do and where they should go to on the clock spring and steering wheel control. The part number for that is CHNI3C. It's an Aero Pro item. It says it's for Pathfinders and D40 Navaras, but it's also for patrols as well. They use the same plugs. This is a clock spring out of early model patrols, not Series 4. Series 4 are different again, as you can tell by the plug for the airbags. I'll show you the other one in a second. They are different. As you can see, it's a different style of plug. These you can get out of Pathfinders and X-Trails. They are exactly the same. If you're doing this to a Series 4, or you're going to do a Series 4 conversion, Micras have the same clock springs as a Series 4, and indicator and wiper stalks, and the plugs you can get out of that as well. All you got to do is use a multimeter and find out what pin in here comes out at what wire here. Also, there'll be airbag wires if your car has an airbag, which you have to be, obviously you won't be able to use, but I'm not too sure how it works with the cruise controls. That you'll have to trial and error yourself due to my car doesn't have cruise control in it. Yeah, once you've worked out your clock spring end and your harness end, you just got to make a patch lead that goes from there to this, and then that's it. And then think your control unit if you need that to get it to work. Some of the newer head units now in 2018, as Pioneer are doing this, supplying audio control wires with their units, so I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it should be working the same. I'm not 100% sure if you still need these controls for it, but I'm assuming you can do both. So yeah, that's all you need, guys, and good luck with it.